All right, what's good, everybody? The final episode of Road to the Title Season 3 is in the books officially. And as long as it seemed at times when I was doing these breakdowns, I still kind of can't believe that it's over. Um, but as far as the fights go, the second round was great, man. The second round was great. This episode, obviously, the last fight wasn't great, but the first two were fire. So it was a good way to end. Today I'm going to go over the Pono Pao versus James Siekmann fight. So James Siekmann, I didn't originally know that he was going to move on. In the first round, he fought Wes Mina, I believe, and knocked him out, but got called for a stepping foul, I want to say. Man, shame on me for not verifying this before this video. I believe James got DQ'd for a step and had knocked him out. So yeah, it wasn't the best performance from James in the first round, but they definitely see something in him. And looking back on it, Power Slap definitely, like, if someone knocks somebody out on the reality show, then obviously the other person that got knocked out can't compete moving forward. So a lot of times they tend to take the person that got DQ'd along for the ride. And in this case, I'm happy they did that with Siegman. If you listen to my first breakdown from him, the guy he definitely showed potential. And yeah, I bet you Dana's glad that he kept him around because this was a breakout win for him, man. You want to talk about taking advantage of a second opportunity, and this was not an easy fight, man. Sending him in against Pono Pao, I think this was the toughest fight he could have taken on the entire show. And yeah, just a great performance from him. And then for Pono Pao, he got a knockout in the first round against Devin Jenkins, I want to say, and looked really good. Again, Pao's been competing with his offhand this entire show, so I want to start by just saying that, like, I'm reviewing the match, so obviously I'm going to critique the slaps. And, at the end of the day, he's up there throwing slaps at James too. So I'm going to critique the slaps the same way, but you just have to know that this is his offhand. So it doesn't mean that I'm not going to call it like I see it. But at the end of the day, just know that I have, like, crazy respect for Pono for competing with his left hand, especially against a monster like Siekmann. But yeah, so this match it had fireworks written all over it. And it delivered. It definitely delivered. So Pao isn't the biggest heavyweight. His aura is big, so he seems even bigger than he is. But James definitely had the size advantage in this fight. I'd have to go double check the tail of the tape, but he definitely had a couple inches height on him, and I want to say he had, like, at least 10 pounds on him, which can matter at heavyweight, man. 10 pounds is a lot. It might not seem like a lot, but it can be. And I wouldn't necessarily say that there was, like, a power. It wasn't like a power disadvantage, but I think that Siekmann showed that he just had a little bit more sting on his slaps. And again, who knows what Pao can do with his right hand, man. So it's really unfortunate to have to critique it like that, but at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do. A lot of mutual respect between these two guys. In the first round, James was talking a lot of shit, and I had said that that's what lost him the fight, in my opinion. He was just so caught up chasing the knockout and, like, up in his feelings, trying to put on a show and trying to talk shit, that it really was just, you could tell he just wasn't on his game. In this fight, on this stage, he looked super comfortable, man. He honestly looked like a different guy to me. Not necessarily because of how he slaps, like, his slap looked the same. But I talk about stage presence. He had a good stage presence here, man. He looked completely comfortable. Not once did he ever look nervous or out of his element. So he looked right at home, and we know Pao's at home up there. And I mean, Pao, he's never looked nervous up there. He has always had a great stage presence. So this was just pretty high level power slap. And yeah, so the stage was set for these two. But with that said, so Pao won the toss and he was slapping first, and it was mad funny because he said right on one as a joke when he had a huge cast on his right hand, and I laughed. I thought that was funny. The ref even laughed. But anyway, on Pono's first slap, bro, it was a big shot. It was a big shot, man. It looked a little deep to me. I think it could have been a club, but I mean, it wasn't the worst one I've seen. I think that in this fight, I really wasn't crazy about the reffing. For this one, I think that you, based on what you let go throughout the season, like you have to let this one go, or else it's like, what the fuck? So yeah, it was. But regardless, it was a massive shot, and James was able to eat it, man. This guy has one of the craziest chins that I've ever seen. How he eats these slaps is just crazy to me, man. He took like a little bit of like a 1-2 backwards, but I mean, dude, Pow's got crazy power, so that's really nothing. He didn't really talk a bunch of shit on the recovery, which I like, because you could tell that, like I say, and I've said in the last couple videos, that if you're rocked, like don't say anything, because the second you start slurring your words or something like that, it really just shows your cards, and you don't want that. So it was good by James to just kind of stump or like go back to his corner and not really open his mouth. So Pow literally looked surprised that James ate it. He almost had like a holy shit moment, like damn, now I have to eat this shit. Like he was definitely expecting to knock him out in one. I mean, I don't know that for sure. That's just what it looked like to me. It looked like he was pretty convinced that he was gonna be able to put him out in one. He even said like, "I see you, boy," like giving him major props, like while he was like in his corner, or like getting ready to go back up and get slapped. And then one thing I noticed on Pow's first slap, so Pow does the Hawaii lean on one, just like the Chief, and it works for him. And I liked this slap better because he didn't pause like he did against Devin. Like I don't mind the slap. I just don't necessarily like when you pause in the middle of it. So he didn't do that here. But one thing I did notice about it was he wasn't leaning as much. So it's the Hawaii lean, but he didn't lean nearly as much as I see on his other slaps or like his practice slaps. And I follow him on Instagram, so I'll be seeing him slap the bag or the little thing, whatever he does. And he always seems to lean a little bit more than he did on this slap. So I thought that was a little interesting. And I think that he could have rocked James a lot more if he would just step back. Again, like missing deep is not really, you don't really want to knock. That's not really how you're going to knock someone out, unless like, I mean, somebody who has an iffy chin, if you catch him on the jaw, like towards like the back of your jaw, you can definitely put him out. But Siekmann, you're going to have to hit this guy right on the button to drop him, like right on the button, even if you have as much power as Pow does. But yeah, that was something I noticed. And then on James's first lap, bro, this was an absolute fucking hammer. It stumbled Pow, and the only reason Pow didn't go down was because of the catchers. In the first round, James was missing deep on his slaps, kind of like Pow did on his first one. He was missing a little bit deep. And it looked like he had made adjustments on this one. So this one, he ended up moving back even further because Terp said something after the first lap. We'll get into that, but yeah, you could definitely tell that he was making adjustments on this one, and his feet weren't moving at all. So that was good to see too. It's always good to see when people are learning from the first round and making the adjustments they need to. Yeah, anyway, Pow was able to eat it, but you could tell it really took him a second to come back. Despite the fact that Pow ended up getting KO'd, like he really does have a good chin. So don't get that twisted. And then on Pow's second slap, okay, so like in the beginning when I said that I want to qualify that like he was going with his left hand and we still have to critique his slaps. So this was a bad club, man. It was a bad club. And this one in my opinion was an egregious miscall. I don't throw that word around a lot, egregious, because you don't want to water it down. It's very much a strong word, so you really don't want to water that one down. But this was an egregious miscall. I mean, his palm of his hand landed underneath his ear, man. Like straight up, right below his ear was just like pink. So Yeah, as far as clubs go, this was a bad one, and I'm absolutely shocked that they didn't call it. And like it didn't really end up mattering, but you have to understand that like it could have mattered. So like if Powell eats his slap and this ends up going 3 rounds, like that could have mattered, man. He should have gotten an automatic win in that round, and you have to like you can't take that away from James, you know. So it's like I get that he's going with his left hand, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that it's not a club. Um, yeah, I really wasn't happy with that missed call because I think that it could have ended up costing James. Again, anytime you eat a club, it has compounding interest. Like it's gonna affect your next slap and then your next slap, and you're just getting chipped away at. Your chin's getting chipped away at, and you're more vulnerable on like a third slap than you would be if you know. I mean, you would still be vulnerable, but at least you would get that guaranteed round win, and like you would basically get the reward for eating the club, but he didn't here. And James even seemed wobbly when he came back up to the table for his second slap. I'm not sure how he pulled that together in that short amount of time before he put his next slap out there. And then yeah, so in between this round, so Terp said to him, he was like, maybe take a step back a little bit. Again, when I was saying like you don't really want to miss deep because you're anytime you get further away from the chin, your chances of knocking somebody out go down. So great advice by Terp to back up. And yeah, it showed, man. James's second slap, dude, out cold, man. Out cold. It was honestly pretty shocking to see. Like I didn't even necessarily with Pauzora, I didn't even know that it was possible to put him out like this. So, um, yeah, dude, it just shows how much power this guy has because Pau definitely has a fucking chin, man. He definitely has a chin. I don't want anybody to get it twisted and think that like he's not gonna be able to eat heavyweight slaps. He's definitely gonna be able to eat heavyweight slaps. James's power is just on another level. Um, and I don't even think James landed right on the button here. I think he was closer. I just think that he just is one of those guys that can get away with not hitting right on the button and still put you out, which is a blessing for him. But not everybody has that luxury. But yeah, if he had hit right on the button, this KO would have been even worse. Um, but I mean, for Pau, this guy's just a class act, man. Like I liked him the first time around. It was a little. I think I said in my first breakdown of his fight that I was kind of when I first saw him when he was getting into that little argument with Angel. I was like, it wasn't the best look. So not off on the best foot with him. But he's just slowly won me over. I mean, how do you not like the guy? How can you not like this guy, man? He's respectful first and foremost to his opponents, which is good. But he doesn't take anything off of him. Like he's able to put that aside and really fight. And he seems like a good dude. I really hope that he comes in contact with his daughter, man. I'm Pal. If you end up listening to this, I'm gonna say a prayer for that. I really hope that happens for you. That story is pretty crazy, and it's just great to see somebody making the changes to turn their life around. I mean, I myself have been through a bunch of shit in life, like legal shit, drugs, all that shit. So I can appreciate where he's coming from, and it's just great to see somebody turn their life around. So kudos to him for that. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Can't wait to see him fight again. And then for James, man, bro, you want to talk about making the most of a second opportunity? I think that he beats basically everybody at heavyweight. Um, but I think that there's definitely some people towards the top that'll give him a run for his money, and that'll be the true test. Even if he did end up taking an L in a fight from somebody at the top of the division, he belongs up there, man. Um, the heavyweight rankings, I'm not sure what they're gonna do with him. Technically, he's 1-1, so you can't put him like that high up there. But he should be top 10 for sure. I'd probably put him at like 7, anywhere from 7 to 10. I think would be good. And yeah, so he's definitely fighting at Power Slap 9. I have no idea who he's fighting, but I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be someone like a. I think I think they're going to give him a top 5 matchup. I really do. And yeah, for Pow, I can't wait to see him fight again, man. Yeah, until next time.